up, y'all? Welcome back to Shinny in the City, and I'm back today with a new video, and we just gonna go ahead and cut to the chase and discuss how did I become a nurse? Why in the world did Shanae become a nurse? This little hair is out of place and this is bothering me. Right, why did I become a nurse? What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Shinny in the City, and it's me, Shanae, and we just gonna go ahead and cut to the chase in this video and talk about why in the world, or why the F, did I become a nurse? Now, granted, this is not going to be a 50-part series like Satisa. If you don't know what that is, get from up under the rock that you're living up under and ask the world who Risa Tisa is. So, let's just say, I ask myself that every day sometimes. I've been a nurse for 2 years now, and one of the big things that I feel like when you're applying for nursing school, when you're in nursing school, when you start your first nursing job, as you go through nursing, they always say you will never forget your why. But that is, I don't know if that's good advice, because my why in nursing school was different from my why in my first year of nursing, and it's different today as a nurse. And I know so many people into the career because they like, oh my gosh, I want to help people. And I remember when I was pre-med and they were talking about applying to medical school, and they was just like, don't say that you want to help people. And I was like, what? Don't do what? They were like, literally, like, if you want to, in your application, do not just say that you want to help people, because there are several ways to help people without being in healthcare. And that's the honest to God truth. You could go to the grocery store and help somebody with their groceries. You can help somebody cross the street. You could pay for somebody's meal. You can go to a soup kitchen. There are several other ways to help people besides being, in my case, like a nurse or being in healthcare or a doctor, whatever. And you could be a social worker. And it's funny because I did consider social work before I went back to school to be a nurse. And like I said, my why is ever changing, and so I just want to go ahead and touch on some nursing updates as far as my life as a nurse, because I feel like, I know in my last video I talked about how I've been MIA, and so I want to talk to y'all about my nursing journey so far. I quit my first job, and what's next? So let's go ahead. Right, I passed my NCLEX on February 4th, 2022, and I started nursing literally a week after. Now when I graduated, I think I had secured 4 jobs, and like one, they did not get back to me for months, y'all. I had like jobs in the I had 4 jobs. I know I had like 2, they were from the same like system, but they were in 2 different locations. And then I had interviewed in the ER, another place, but they like so long to get back to me. It was not like a thorough process that I just never like anything about it anymore. And I had got a job as a pediatric nurse, and I was like, this is what I want to do anyways, so none of these other jobs really even matter at this point. Okay, I was like, these other jobs don't really even matter at this point, because I'm a pediatric nurse. That's it, point blank, period. It's a dream come true. But with that, like, wait, this is, I don't know, it's kind of shadowy. So like with that, the hardest part about that was that it was the lowest paying like position that was offered, but I chose my happiness and what I wanted to do, and that's what caused me to like pick the position for that specific company at the time. And I eventually moved on to the NICU because, one, it was what I wanted to do, and like when I graduated from nursing school, it was my dream specialty, and it was at like one of the top hospitals in my state. So I'm like, that's a no-brainer. I'm quitting, I'm moving on, y'all be good over there, I'm going over here to the NICU, and I'm about to have like a good time, right? I am having a decent time, but it has come with a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress, and I am just like navigating that space. So I want to elaborate more on like why I ended up quitting my first nursing job before I even move on to like the arts of nursing. I wanted to be a NICU nurse. So when the opportunity came, I took it. Like, I would not take a job that I wanted. But the thing was, I was not actively looking. I just was like, I'm gonna go to a job fair. I went to a job fair, and I actually talked to the nursing department first, and they didn't really sound like they had needed people in their department. And I didn't like fully my year yet, and so they were just like, come back, talk to us in a year when you hit your year mark. And it had already been 10 months of me like being a nurse, and like, so she, oh yeah, like apply online, whatever. So I was like, well, okay, promising. And so I was just like, okay, maybe I just go home. And I was like, no, I'm up. Let's go ahead and just like see what these other departments have to say. So I went and talked to the NICU department. I talked to the NICU department and I talked to the ER department. The NICU department was like, yes, we want you. In so many words, pulled me to the side, had an interview on the spot. Love that I had previous experience in a pediatric unit. They were like, when can you start? I was just like, oh, I didn't really know I was about to walk away from here with a job. Like, I don't know what my intentions was when I went to the career fair. I was just like, I'm going to the career fair, and ended up landing my dream job. That was amazing. I felt blessed very much. But then let's talk about like why more so I quit. My battery's finna die, so we gonna catch up. Hold on. All right, my battery, it died. Had to switch it out, and I am back. All right, my first year of nursing, I experienced heavy burnout so quickly. Like I said, like, it had already been 10 months, and I was just like, I don't know if I can do this anymore, because one, like, I was a new grad nurse, so I was learning how to be a nurse. It was 2022, so it was still very much like post-COVID, but COVID is still, I wouldn't even say like it was post-COVID yet. It wasn't even like COVID is still around now. So COVID was still very much prevalent, and a lot of people had left nursing in general, and so I was just like burned out. A lot of people had left nursing, so like our turnover rate was high. Nobody, besides the day shift people that had been there for years, anywhere from like 7 to like 30 years, I want to say. It was night shift. Nobody had been there more than 2 years. It was a few people that had been there 5 years, but it was like 1 year of nursing under your belt. And so it created a high turnover rate because you don't necessarily have the support. Granted, you learn a lot in your first year of nursing, but for me, like, I felt like I lacked that support of like an OG nurse knowing how to do like certain things immediately or quickly, or like understood what this mean or different things of that nature. And so that was like hard for me specifically. And then like, with us having a high turnover rate, we were always short staffed. I would come in and on average I would have 4 patients, and that was a good day for me. Like, I usually have 5 patients. On the worst days I had 6, and that 6 pediatric med surg patients that's not safe, especially for like a new grad nurse, which I was at the time. And also one thing we're noticing in the hospital, and a lot of the older nurses are telling me that, is that the patients are sicker. So we have unsafe ratios and a higher acuity higher acuity patient and a new nurse. That is not the greatest recipe, and I'm glad that I did nursing to the best of my ability safely for those 10 months, but it was not ideal, especially for me. And that was enough within itself, but it just was not it for me. It was not it. I didn't feel supported. I just didn't feel like I had a manager that I could go talk to and like be like, hey, I'm struggling with this. Like, because she too, I'm just gonna say management themselves were like short staffed, and so like they weren't even from our unit. And it was just a whole ordeal of like why it just was not a good position, especially for me to be in as a new grad nurse. And this is just like in general. I'm not gonna say this was specific to my unit, but nursing is a mean girl culture. It exists, and it was just a lot of like drama that I was just like, why is this a thing? I didn't understand. And then also, like, you gotta understand, like, nursing was my second degree, so I'm coming in as a 30-year-old to a nursing unit of much younger women, because there were only women on our unit for the most part, and it was just real catty, gossiping, all of that. And I didn't come here for that. I just wanted to be a nurse. Anything else is extra. So that to me was like a little bit overwhelming. And so I was just like, I don't really like it here. I'm burnt out. I don't even know if I want to be a nurse right now. And so when the opportunity came up unintentionally, it wasn't intentionally on my behalf, to go ahead and leave and quit, I was out. Like, no doubt about it. And so that's just like my story of like, why I quit. I know a lot of new grad nurses are quitting their first jobs, and it's crazy, but we here. I'm here now. I'm here for a good time, not a long time when it comes to nursing. And so I just want to, with that, I want to move on and talk about, from what I've noticed, these are my personal pros and cons. No one else's. So if this is not a pro for you, that's fine. If it's not a con for you, that's fine. This is my story, and I'm just here to tell it. So I'm gonna start with the cons. I told y'all like burnout. It's not unique to just like my experience or my unit. It's just a high alert position. Like, your brain is wired all the time. You got to be on high alert, which high alert usually leads to high anxiety. And so, which for me, like, it led to burnout, and that was the case for like quite a few people within my unit and other new grad nurses that I have talked to. Of course, there is the schedule, which is, it's a bonus, it's a pro and a con, but we're talking about the con side of it right now. When it comes to holidays, you will work holidays. And I know people are like, you're a nurse, that's what you signed up for. But it's still sad when like you're not home on Christmas with your family and doing the things that you would have normally been doing. And then depending on your unit, sometimes it's like seniority based or whatever. Like, you don't always get the holidays you want, and like, you have to work some sort of holiday every year. So it's like you're always giving up holidays, whether it's Christmas, Thanksgiving, 4th of July, Memorial Day, or Labor Day. Like, you always have to give up some sort of holiday. Like, you may be able to be off for like next year, or you may be off for Christmas next year, but this year you gotta work Christmas, you know. It's hard. Sometimes you have to work weekends, and when the rest of the world operates on weekends, a lot of the FOMO, a lot of like fear of mouth, at least for me. I feel like sometimes I want to do something, and like, or I just want to do something, and I can't do certain things because I'm at work. And so that scheduling conflict, it is a con. I know people say it's a pro, but it's a con too. Okay. And overall, like, it's a heavy emotional career. Like, there's a possibility, trigger warning, of death every day that I go to work. That there. And it's also like dealing like grief, loss, and just like that, knowing that is something that you could deal with in a shift. It gets scary sometimes, and it's just comfortable. And not every, like, especially in NICU where I work, like, we see miracles every day, but it is just hard sometimes for like parents, their first time or 6th or 7th time parents, like, to go through the NICU experience. Like, it's just very scary, and I had to like remind that it's scary for the parent as well, like, to see all like these things connected to their baby. And so like that's not what they had in mind. And so that part, like, it does get very emotional and heavy, and you really got to learn to take care of yourself, or I don't know what's gonna happen to you. And so with is just like, I would say another con is just like patient safety, especially if you're not at a hospital with like or well staffed. You gotta take, like, patient coming into the hospital, like, you can say like a restaurant, you could be like, we're full, or it's a 45-minute wait, and like they never gonna say that at a hospital, like, okay, but it's gonna be a 30 to 45-minute wait. Like, no. Like, you're here, but something like or someone could come in that's like a more urgent situation than you, and so like that gets pushed back into the back of the line, and so now they're angry because it's like, I've been here and this person came in and like they got to be seen before me and yada yada, like all that. People get angry, and when they get angry they start abusing us. Like, that thing that I don't feel like people don't talk about enough is the safety of a nurse. People really be like throwing like I'm in NICU, the babies aren't beating me up, but the parents get real bold sometimes. So it's like safety concern, not just for the patient, but like you as a nurse, like I would say. Yeah, the cons. So let's go ahead and get to like the side of nursing. The pro is job stability. Like, if you have a license, you have a job. Like, that's just what it is. I can go from state to state, city to city. As long as I got a license, I got a job. So the job stability is there, and you don't always have to do like this type of nursing. Like, I change my mind tomorrow and go back to peds. I would just have to apply, of course, for a job, but the stability is there. Okay. And with stability, I mentioned like sometimes the units are short staffed. It's a lot of money in nursing. I feel like we saw more of that in 2020 when nurses was making bank. Granted, I'm not making the bank that those nurses were making, but there's an opportunity pretty much a lot of picking up shifts, working like a DM job at another place, and like having extra income available to you. So I say that's a pro. And the schedule, I know I said it was a con, but it's also a pro because you, for the most part, only work 3 days a week, and you work less sometimes or more, well, like length over time, but you can work more or less depending like your hospital and your unit and their staffing needs. And like when you work, you can stack your days. I know people that stack their days, so they work 6 days in a row and then they'll be off for 8, and they can do whatever they want on those 8 days. And like, if you like me, like you go like me, like, right. And so the schedule, I know I said before that it is a pro con, but it is also very much a pro because with you only work 3 days a week. Granted, those are very long days, and I don't necessarily always have the ability to get much done in those 3 days. Like, people with 9 to 5s are able to do certain things after work. I don't have that ability because I work nights, so whatever. But the schedule does allow you, or me per se, to work 3 days a week and do whatever you want the other 4 days. And I know people that they'll squeeze all their days together and work 6 days a week and then do whatever they want for 8 days. And so like, with that, like, you don't always have to take like, PTO and things of that nature. You're able to just go off and do what you want. So if you want to take a vacation, a week vacation, you can with no problem. So that, I would say, is a con. And I think like this for me pertains to my why is that I feel like as a nurse, like, I am able to make a positive impact on the community, the hospital, and even like with my family and friends. I am a trusted source, and I actually talked to my therapist about this today. The trust that, especially like me as a Black nurse, that I'm able to build with Black patients and even other patients as well, it really does make a positive impact on their experience in the community. And knowing that, I'm not saying like I'm out here saving the world or anything, but I do sleep at night knowing that I'm doing something right as far as people moving along to their next destination in life. And the final pro for me, some people may not feel this way, but I do like that I am always learning something new. As we saw with COVID, we had never seen COVID before. And so, not saying like I'm out here wishing COVID on people. Please don't take that out of context. But with that, you're learning new things. You're learning about a new disease. So you're learning new ways to like treat this disease and things of that nature. And so you never really get bored as a nurse. When I rule that you never want to say that the unit is quiet, because as soon as you say that, it all breaks loose. And it is not a quiet unit anymore, so it's forbidden to say that it's quiet. So you just learn to appreciate the quiet moments, because it's never truly quiet, because alarms are constantly dinging and there's just a lot going on. But I do appreciate the newness of learning new things and operating new technology when it comes to nursing and things of that nature. So those are just like my pros and cons. Granted, I've only been a nurse for 2 years. That could change. I could start to think that some of the cons are pros and vice versa. And so with that, what is next for me in my career? I feel like the big thing people want to know is if I'm going to go back to school. And I'm not going to say no, at least not yet. Although every day I lean more towards the idea of going back to school, because I enjoy nursing as it is. Not necessarily sure if I want to go the provider route and be a nurse practitioner. If anything, I think I would be more so into the education of future nurses versus like being an actual nurse practitioner or provider. It's just not where I'm at right now. But things could change. And I still am open to the idea of being a nurse practitioner. Just not right now. I'm not going to nobody's school. I just want to be a nurse. That's it. And I really just want to focus on being a creator and what that looks like for me. I've always been a creative person. Granted, content creation and things and YouTube are way newer to the creative space, but I've always been to arts and crafts is my jam. And so I really just want to focus on that part of my life and my hobbies and things like that. Like, I'm gonna learn how to swim this year. This is completely unrelated, but things like that. Like, I want to focus on me and my hobbies and like improving my life outside of my career, and like investing in like going to school and getting more certifications. Like, that's just not in it for me right now. It's just not. Okay, it could change, but right now it's not. And my big thing is that if you were here before, or you watched any of my old videos, a lot of them are nursing videos. And so as I transition out of only recording nursing videos and making nursing content, I plan on bringing a warm-up series so that y'all have been here or are new here can warm up to this transition that I am presenting to you all of Shanae the person and not just Shanae the nurse. And also, like, people that are not nurses can enjoy my content as well. I'm excited for what's coming up the pipeline. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you don't want to miss my next one, you know what to do, but go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time. So, bye.